Let's look at those famous faces. I don't want to start this game. Okay, Tommy, music, please. What do you got, Debbie?
I got Face the Music.
Right? And who are we looking for?
Gosh, I don't know. Ron Ely?
Right. They shouldn't do that to me. That's 10 points for you, Debbie. Okay, let's have the next song, please, Tommy. What do you got, Debbie?
I got I'm Just Wild About Harry.
I'm Just Wild About Harry, looking for?
Wild About Harry Truman.
Harry Truman, you're right. That's 20 big points for Debbie. Now, contestants, those points are important to you because the two of you with the highest score at the end of our second game will face each other to see which one plays our champion for $10,000 in cash. Now, if we can omit that very first picture, let's take a last look at those pictures again, please. Where did you get that picture?
Rest in peace to Ron Ely, as well as Jack Jones. An anthology on the bad, the short-lived, and the forgotten shows and events in television history. This is It Was a Thing on TV.
C would write poetry, believe it or not. Therefore, our continuing champions are the Hunts with 300 with how many points, I don't know.
Episode 509, submission number 1118, Throb. Throb aired in syndication from September 6, 1986 to May 21st, 1988 for 48 episodes over 2 seasons.
Hey, you want to do a little bit of math? That is triple a crack block. 3 times 16 is 48. And your lesson in math is done for the day. Let's go to the open.
Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat. Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat. There's a jukebox jumping, someone's gonna play our song. There's a beat coming down the street, we got the feeling strong. Look for me, you know where I'll be. I pay my dues and I do my job. Throb, I'm working Throb. Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat. Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat.
What a hell woman's gonna win in this wicked world? A little rock and roll can separate them from the girls. Every mother's son can testify for me. 95's an all-day job. I work at Throb. I'm working Throb.
Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat. Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat. Feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat. Throb.
Anybody who knows me knows I love my a cappella music, and anybody who knows me knows that Diana Canova makes a hell of a soprano. Speaking of Diana Canova, you know when we last left her? She was a big girl now. She graduated from being a big girl to striking out on her own as a 30-something single mom who just happened to score the job of her lifetime in a small record company in the go-go 80s, working for a talent scout who is looking for his own talent, so to speak. And I don't know if it was actually meant to be this way or if it was just a happy accident, but the show itself, sort of a slice of life in the recording industry, but also mimics real life as, at the time, Diana Canova was married to a record producer and the parents of a 3-year-old son. In this article that I found online, she said, "I'm fortunate. What other actress has a chance to sing while warming up to do a comedy show?" It's not like she wasn't ready to do this sort of thing. I mean, it just fell into her lap. And this was the brainchild of one Freddie Tobin, who wrote episodes of, among other things, The Love Boat. This could have worked in network, but this being the mid 80s, the next big thing was syndication, especially for all of those independent stations who are going up against the big three or the big four. Or hey, if you're a Fox station, one of the flagships, you need something to program when it's not movie time or Fox time. So Procter & Gamble Productions, you know them, the soap opera people, they team up with Taft Entertainment, you know them, they own a whole lot of TV stations, to create and produce this show about a young record company executive, his staff, and the weird talent that seems to come in. So let's talk about who Diana Canova as Sandy Beatty gets to work with every day in New York City. 30-something divorcee Sandy Beatty, played by Canova, gets a job at a small new wave record label, Throb Records. Sandy's boss is Zachary Zach Armstrong, who had a huge crush on Sandy. She also has a 12-year-old son named Jeremy, a best friend named Meredith, who is a single teacher living in her building, and a couple of hip young coworkers, Phil Gaines, a business manager, and a secretary by the name of Prudence Ann Bartlett that everybody calls Blue.
Okay.
Hilarity ensues. Like I said, slice of life for everybody involved. Sandy's played by Diana Canova, of course, from Soap and previous entry, I'm a Big Girl Now. Her boss, Zach, is played by Jonathan Prince, who was admittedly cast because he bears more than a striking resemblance in both feature and action to Michael J. Fox, who was the biggest TV star at the time. Business manager Phil Gaines is played by Richard Cummings Jr., was on episodes of American Soul, Northern Exposure, and 30-something. Prudence Ann Blue Bartlett is played by Jane Leaves. We've talked about her before in the Red Dwarf pilot, but you best know her as one Daphne Moon.
How dare we skip over Hot in Cleveland? I mean, that was her more contemporary show, but yeah, she's known for Frasier, but I don't think we can neglect Hot in Cleveland.
We're not going to neglect Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, that was Betty White's last great show she did.
I almost want to say, and let's not forget that Betty White banged a guy to death on Golden Girls.
Yeah, she did.
Playing Meredith, the person in Sandy's building, Mary Edith Burrell. Mary Edith Burrell was one of the main cast members on early 80s late night fare Fridays.
Oh, Fridays with Michael Richards and Larry David.
Also, she was in Parenthood in 1990, not the later reboot, the 1990 reboot.
The one that doesn't have either Steve Martin or Craig T. Nelson.
The one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
The one that was directly based on the movie.
The TV show didn't have Keanu like the movie, or Jason Robards.
And then, rounding out the cast as 12-year-old Jeremy, we have two people. The second one is Sean DeVerich. That was for season 2. We've last talked about him in that really, really good pilot, Where's Rodney? The first Jeremy Beatty, the late Paul Walker.
You know, it's funny. Before I realized we were going to be doing this show this week, I was watching a random YouTube video. Do you remember the movie, Chico, he did for Disney in the late 90s, Meet the Deedles?
Oh my God, I do!
I was watching a YouTube video about that. I remember the Siskel and Ebert review of that being so epic. If you can find the Siskel and Ebert review of Beat the Beatles, I highly suggest you find it.
It's much better than the actual movie itself.
Even though it has Dennis Hopper in it. Now, hold on a second. I got an amazing discovery on this episode that I found out in the YouTube video when I was watching the review of Meet the Beatles. Okay, you ready?
Now here's the host of Amazing Discoveries, Mike
Klaus.
With Greg Diener.
Do you know who played Paul Walker's dad in Meet the Beatles? Are you ready for this, Chico?
I don't think I can be unready for this, but go on.
Eric Braeden.
Oh my God! Robin Scherbatsky's daddy #1.
It would have been very funny if midway through the movie he got replaced by Ray Wise, and he said, "I did not kill anybody in backward speak." Dennis Hopper was in Meet the Beatles along with Robert Englund? Really?
And a guest star, and Hattie Winston.
Greg, you and I may have to watch this one weekend.
Is it on Disney Plus? I gotta see. Dear God, the last time we watched a movie that we talked about on this podcast was the Kissing Booth Saga. So hopefully this probably turns up better than that. It's on Disney Plus.
Yes!
So we'll have to do a live show of it eventually.
This looks so stupid.
It looks stupid in 1998. 14-year-old Greg thought, this is so stupid. And I watched a lot of stupid stuff, and I'm like, I'm not watching this crap.
Thank you so much for taking a stand, young Greg.
I was too busy recording episodes of Supermarket Sweep and Debt on Lifetime to care.
As one does in 1999.
No, 98, because they were off the air on Lifetime by 99.
Lifetime just did not know a good thing when they had it. What can I say?
Yeah, we got those sweet PAX run of Supermarket Sweep.
Not many people remember when PAX started new episodes produced for them. The sexy sax version of the Supermarket Sweep theme.
Oh, that was great.
That was awesome.
We'll be back to this episode about Throb after Greg and Chico wax philosophically about the early PAX years.
I remember when Johnny Gilbert announced the early episodes of the PAX run before they handed it off to Randy West.
Friend of the podcast, Randy West. Put some respect on his name.
Oh, yeah. Randy, if you're watching, hi. No, if you're listening, hi. I'm sorry.
A random Mike has entered the chat. Hey, you guys want to talk about the reel-to-reel picture show with that Peter Marshall chap?
No!
And I killed the whole conversation. Back to Throb.
Yeah, we got to start talking about Diana Canova again.
Yeah, we've got a whole lot of episodes, and I'll tell you what, the one episode that is available on YouTube to watch, oh God, it was a lot. So we start with the pilot. Sandy goes on her first date in 14 years. Just think, the last first date she's been on resulted in a kid. And that kid resulted in the Fast and the Furious.
I wonder, is this show, Chico, all about family?
It's all about family. A couple of names. We mentioned Sean DeBarich, who is cast as Jeremy #2 in season 2. He actually shows up in this episode as one of Jeremy's friends, a guy by the name of Terry.
Is this a Seymour Skinner-like situation with the two actors?
I don't know. And playing a guy by the name of Todd, probably the person that she's going on a date with, Robert Picardo.
Oh yeah, the doctor.
From Star Trek Voyager. By the way,
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Jerry Taylor.
Yeah, that was sad to find out today. But hold on. 87. The show started in 87, right?
86.
Oh, 86. So this would be right before he was the cowboy in Inner Space.
Right. Episode 2. Our Song. A songwriter mistakenly thinks Sandy is in love with him.
I bet you I know who the songwriter is in this episode. Probably a character named Dan Porter. This guy in about a year would hit it real big. Billy Vera. What would you say at this moment?
Sing it.
No, I can't. And I don't even know the words. I was bullshitting the first half of that second line. I remember the song was big in 87, 88, but I can't sing it.
Sean Deverich is back playing another one of Jeremy's friends, a guy by the name of Eric.
Boy, it's going to be really awkward when they get to season 2 and Sean Deverich is playing the son on this show and every single one of the son's friends.
One more name, playing a character by the name, well, one of the Bleeding Gums, because he's in the band du jour. Kenneth Rogers, the son of Kenny Rogers.
Oh, now you made me think of those Kenny Rogers Mad TV parodies with Will Sasso.
I got 2 more names I want to mention because, one, I know we've talked about this person, just don't know where off the top of my head. Playing, and this is not a joke, his character name is Perry Mason, Walter Olkowitz. I don't remember where we've talked about him, but we've definitely talked about him. The name rings a bell. He was on an episode of We Got It Made in 1988, and he was also on an episode of I Had 3 Wives and The Duck Factory. But I do want to throw out another name. This is not an actor. This is a person who wrote the episode, a gentleman by the name of George Tibbles. The main reason I bring up George Tibbles is because he was like the primary writer on Hello, Larry. But also, interestingly enough, he actually passed away like 6 months after this episode aired. Actually, I think it was less than 6 months, maybe closer to 4 months. So this may have been one of his last TV shows that he wrote for. And a little note that I did not know until I did a little bit of research on him today. He was nominated for an Academy Award for the Woody Woodpecker song.
And you can watch all the Woody Woodpecker right now on MeTV Tunes.
And Greg, I'm sorry. Yes, Woody Woodpecker's good. Yes, Chili Willy's good. But that's where I draw the line. The rest of it is crap in my opinion.
Inspector Willoughby, just saying. Anyway.
Like I said, the rest of it is crap in my opinion.
My opinion's the only one that counts.
Episode 3. This is the episode that's online. Getting to know you. Sandy convinces her coworker Blue to get better acquainted.
Here's the one big thing you need to know in this episode. Jane Lee's character is upset because she is turning 23 years old. She is turning 23. This is the end of her life as she knows it. She's turning 23. Look, in a couple of years, you're going to be a caretaker for a Seattle cop, and you're going to meet a nice man named Niles.
Enjoy it.
And then you're going to go to Cleveland, and you're going to hang out with the 90-year-old Betty White.
Enjoy it.
And Wendy Mallett. Let's not forget Wendy Mallett. And hold on a second. As I shared on the Threads page, Wendy Malick is going to be on Night Court.
Season 3.
Yep.
Episode 4. My Fair Punker Lady. Zach and Sandy transform an unknown singer into an overnight star. I'm guessing this is the singer. Rollo Maldonado. Played by George Clooney.
So there is life after that one season of Facts of Life.
I thought you were going to say E/R.
Oh, yeah, that one. Because clearly there's never going to be another ER that he's going to be in.
Well, there's never going to be another E/R.
Yeah.
Get rid of that slash and who the heck knows what can happen.
This guy can never play a doctor. I mean,
No.
Absolutely never.
You know who else can never play a doctor? That one guy from Revenge of the Nerds who's not Robert Carradine.
Anthony Edwards?
Yeah. Goose can't be a doctor.
I thought you were going to say Booger. Curtis Armstrong?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's the wrong character from Revenge of the Nerds.
Episode 5. I lost him at the movies. Sandy feels guilty when she recalls ghosting a date in high school. Episode 6. Something extra. Almost want to pull a John Davidson all of a sudden. Anyway, Sandy's neighbor auditions to be a singer in a rock group. Episode 7. Bus of Dreams. Zach and Sandy search for new rock acts. And on that bus, as girl on the bus, Pamela Bach, the once and future David Hasselhoff.
But hosting the event, maybe on this bus, is Robert Pastorelli. You know him as Eldon on the OG Murphy Brown. He was the handyman, painter, did all sorts of stuff at Murphy Brown's residence.
The Nylons make an appearance as the maintenance men. So if you ever wanted to see the faces of the people who sang the theme song, there you are. Episode 8, The Concert. Sandy's interference almost ruins a company-sponsored concert. Episode 9, The Party. Sandy and her coworkers arrange blind dates for one another. I just want to point out the band du jour, The Morticians. They're not notable, I just wanted to point it out. Episode 10, Tassels. Sandy is hesitant to date a doorman. The band du jour is Small Change, and one member of the band du jour is Rashawn Patterson. I don't know if this would be before his stint on Kids Incorporated or after, but he was there. Episode 11, Wedding Bell Blue. Blue's boyfriend proposes. It's the role he was born to play. Quite literally. Playing Donny Osmond is Donny Osmond.
Wow. What a stretch. Donny Osmond played Donny Osmond on this show?
Hey, Greg, you want another stretch?
What is the other stretch?
On this episode, playing James Brown is James Brown.
What?
On this episode, playing James Brown is James Brown. Not NFL Today James Brown, Living in America James Brown.
I feel good.
You know, the one who had legal problems a few years later.
Yes.
Episode 12, Nothing Personal. Meredith tries to find a date for Sandy. When did this become Who Wants to Date a Single Mother?
Hey, believe it or not, we have two more famous names. You may be shocked by who plays them. Playing Donny Osmond is Donny Osmond, and playing James Brown is James Brown.
Wow.
That's a stretch on both counts.
Episode 13, Confidence Game. Zach's confidence sinks when a band he rejected soars to fame. So we're talking about a Good Luck Charlie sort of situation here. Oh, big name in this episode. Playing a guy by the name of Herb, Jack Riley.
But by no stretch the only name in this episode, because playing Amanda in this episode is Kit McDonough. We talked about her in Teachers Only. But we also have another name. Playing Jeff in this episode is Daryl Anderson. You'd remember him as Animal on Lou Grant.
Episode 14, Brief Encounter. Sandy dates a doctor.
Such an extensive recap.
Episode 15, Genius. Zach swipes Sandy's idea for a music video. So the band du jour, not named, but one of the members is a guy named Stewart, and he is played by Lori Faso of I'm Telling, and also one of the wands in that episode of It all comes back to soap when I'm talking about Diana Canova, doesn't it?
Okay, it wasn't an episode of soap. It was like the last big story arc of the last season when Jessica Tate gets abducted by Sandinista types down in Central America. Yeah, he was one of the ones, but that wasn't just one episode. I can't believe I said that. But that was like 3 or 4 episodes, or maybe even longer. It was not just one.
And also his bandmate George, played by Garrett Graham from The Critic and Parker Lewis.
He voiced Franklin Sherman on The Critic. So you know what that means? If you spell his name backwards, it spells Nilknarf.
Nilknarf.
I thought you were going to say Everybody Boogie for Baby 37.
So many priceless moments with Franklin Sherman.
Okay, where were we? Episode 16. An oldie but goodie. Zach objects to Sandy helping a 69-year-old singer land an audition. Playing said singer, Henry Bailey, Joe Seneca. He was in so much. Silverado, Malcolm X, The Blob. He was basically that old black guy from that thing. Episode 17, High Anxiety. Zach attempts to rekindle his teenage romance. The Lennon brothers are back as the Blue Lagoons this time, instead of the Morticians. Episode 18, Death Be Not Weird. Sandy recuperates from a car accident. Playing Dr. Axelrod in this episode, Stephen Furst.
Oh.
He would be a doctor in St. Elsewhere around this time, so I'm thinking to myself, is this show part of the Tommy Westphal universe? Playing Little Woman, Patty Maloney.
Dear Lord, she has got to be in the Hall of Fame at some point.
Well, she is the female version of Billy Barty. Oh, by the way, whose 100th birthday is today?
You know what? I hope someone distributing Game 1 of the World Series tonight. I hope like there's a controversial call and Max Muncy calls one of the umpires a shithead.
Is that a tribute to Billy Barty?
Yeah, because remember Billy Barty said it to Super Dave when he was the ump in that one episode of
yeah, I get it now.
No, wait, no. He said it to John Biner. What am I talking about?
But he was still the umpire in that skit, I remember.
Yeah, Billy Barty. If you haven't found that, the Billy Barty umpire skit from Bizarre, you have to listen to it. And then afterwards, listen to Super Dave himself, Bob Einstein, and Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast discuss the story of that skit. Needless to say, it was very hot on set. That's all I'm going to say.
Were they throwing orange wedges at Cesar Romero's ass?
No. Now I'm thinking about Billy Barty throwing orange slices at Cesar Romero.
That's an image and a half right there.
Episode 19, Buffalo. When Sandy visits her parents, presumably in Buffalo, she drags Zach along. Episode 20, Party Games. Zach is propositioned by a married country singer who's under contract to the company. Oh boy. This guy is basically in everything we covered in October. Playing Stanley, Ron Fassler. The country singer who woos Zach on this episode is played by an actual country singer, Nicolette Larson. Episode 21, Moonlighting. Bill starts managing his girlfriend's singing career. Playing his girlfriend Thelma, another singer, Denise Williams.
Oh, let's hear it for the boy then.
Let's give the boy a hand.
Well, while we're hearing it for the boy, I think we should also hear it for this, well, not boy, but the MC of this, legendary comedian Pat Cooper.
I hope he was roasting everybody at the recording studio.
Episode 22, Two Flights Up. Blue is lured away to a rival record company. I can totally see why she would do that, because playing one of the higher-ups in that rival record company, Charlie Mark, Jerry Levine.
He is close to Hall of Fame status, I bet. But let's not forget, he did recruit Sean into a cult.
And the season finale, Nashville, almost. Sandy, Blue, and Meredith try out for the Grand Ole Opry. Playing a bus driver in this episode, Hardy Rawls, a.k.a. the Pete's dad on The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
One other character in this episode, person we talked about quite a bit, playing Roy Applewood, is Mickey Jones. We talked about him a number of places. He was in the pilot to Misfits of Science. We talked about him in Ace Crawford Private Eye. And the two places I remember him from is in the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode titled Gun Fever 2, Still Hot. He played Gunther the Gun Dealer, a classic, if you ask me, but also in Married with Children on the Spring Break two-part episode. I think it was in the second part. He played Harley Wayne Rockefeller, who owned a gas station where Al Bundy's car broke down. And he may very well have traded his repair job on the car for a chance to sex up one of the members of the Bundys that was going down to spring break. Well, not the Bundys, but one of Bud's friends.
There is one more episode of season 1, Rainy Day People. The Throb Records gang recounts the year's best moments with Lou Rawls.
Ooh.
What character is he playing?
He's playing a guy named Lou Rawls.
Wow.
Oh, geez, that's a stretch. Sort of like Donny Osmond playing Donny Osmond and James Brown playing James Brown.
All I could say is, what a way to go out. And they didn't go too far because they did get picked up for a second season. Now, because it's a syndicated show, ratings details are hard to come by, but it must have done pretty good to have achieved a second season in syndication. But there would be some changes. We'll talk about those changes right after we listen to some era-appropriate messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Does she?
This is a tough one.
Why doesn't she?
I can't believe you guys are doing this.
Find out on Love Me, Love Me Not. Today at 2, 1 Central. Have we got a deal for you? It's USA's Game Show Bonanza, the game show you can play right in your own home. Tune in weekday afternoons to USA's exciting game show lineup for your chance to call in and win. Answer the Daily Bonanza question for hundreds of fabulous prizes, plus entry into the big Bonanza drawing for cash, cars, a Caribbean cruise, a fur coat, and more. Everyone's a winner when you watch game shows on USA. This week, tune into the Joker's Wild, 3 p.m. weekdays.
The golden anniversary of college basketball's oldest postseason tournament, the NIT, live on USA. The finals tonight.
It's wild. It's wacky. It's wicked. It's WWF Primetime Wrestling. Tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on USA.
Two people caught up in the heat of a political scandal.
I want to find out more about the plans.
I am not the one who knows about the plans. Joanne Woodward, Paul Newman, WUSA, Wednesday at 9 on the USA Movie. Thank God it's Friday.
Let me make this perfectly clear.
Now you can say it 5 days a week with the show that says it all. Fridays. Monday through Thursday at 11 and Friday on Night Flight on USA.
How many times have you said to yourself, this is my last cigarette, I quit, I'm through, only to give in and light up again? As a former smoker, I know what it's like to be controlled by the psychological need to smoke and the nagging addiction to nicotine. But you can break the habit with Cigarest.
The Cigarest plan was simple and it worked.
I'm starting this year smoke-free, thanks to Cigarest.
And the easy-to-follow, proven program guarantees you will stop smoking in just 7 short days or your money back. If you want to stop smoking, don't put it off. It's the most important decision you'll make all year. Call Cigarest now.
You can arrest the smoking habit forever with Cigarest, a proven 7-day program that guarantees you'll stop smoking or your money back. Save COD fees, use your credit card, and call toll-free 1-800-468-2700. Or send $19.95 plus $4 postage and handling to Cigarest, Box 4444, Carlsbad, California, 92008.
Boy, how about those 1987 ads?
Season 1 happened. Now we're going to Season 2, and it would look similar to, but a bit more distinct. During the second season, Sandy moved from her original apartment to a vacated penthouse in her building, taking in Blue to help out with rent, but the differences between straight-laced, somewhat conservative Sandy and the free-spirited Blue become more pronounced as they both lived and worked together, but they're still friends. There is also Sean DeVarich, not as any of Jeremy's friends, but as Jeremy himself. That is the premise of episode 1 of season 2, Moving In. Ray Burke on this episode plays John. Ray Burke, Pap Schmear from the Naked Gun movie series. And Ron Fassler is back, this time as a character named Jordan. Episode 2 of Season 2, The Spa. Sandy, Blue, and Meredith go to a health spa for the weekend. Our band du jour is the Playthings, and one of the members of the Playthings, an actual musician, but better known as the voice of Wacko Warner, Jess Harnell.
Oh.
Episode 3, Torn Between Two Lovers. Sandy has a choice between two men, one who's fun-loving and one who's romantic. My guess is this guy is the fun-loving one, playing Nick, Shadow Stevens.
Oh, Shadow Stevens, so you know that means we're going to play the clip. Hey, Shadow, who's hosting Hollywood Squares today?
Episode 4, Future Shock. Oh dear. Blue becomes concerned about growing old.
Again?
Again.
But hey, speaking of growing old, oh my gosh, that was a horrible transition. We got another one of those guest stars who has a very interesting name. Playing a character named Frankie Valli is Frankie Valli.
You're kidding.
Did you see that video?
Yes!
That is so, not just pathetic, but depressing. Oh my gosh.
It is depressing.
Seriously, if you haven't seen this video, I forget who posted it, but it's from the last, I think, week or so, 2 weeks, of Frankie Valli. I don't know if it's doing Jersey Boys or a concert or whatnot. You could tell he's basically like, for lack of a better phrase, like a puppet. Just moving his mouth for the sake of moving his mouth. It's all lip-synced. It's very depressing, very sad.
Episode 5, Good Vibrations. Zach loses his hearing at a concert and falls for the specialist who's trying to help him. Episode 6, Whose coup is it anyway? It comes back to coups around here, doesn't it? Blue takes the credit when Sandy discovers a new rock band. Playing Josh in this episode, I want to say we've talked about him before. Barry Gordon.
We definitely talked about him. He was the college student who was helping out the family on Fish. Plus, he was on the last week of Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour, where Gene said the following to Morgan Fairchild.
You're gorgeous.
Yeah, damn right she is.
Couple more names. Playing Ed, Clint Holmes. He composed the theme music to Jennifer Slept Here. But playing man number 2, Tim Russ.
Oh, from Voyager.
Yes, Lieutenant Tuvok. Episode 7, Last Night at the Fire Station, Part 1. Zach tries to prevent an old nightclub from closing. With appearances by The Birds, Jack Riley, Nicolette Larson, Richard Hatch from Battlestar Galactica, and Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, of course.
And also Mark Lindsay Chapman. He played Dr. Anton Arcane in Swamp Thing, another USA Network original series.
That was Adrian Borbo's best work.
Episode 8.
No, wait, no, stop. Greg, you take that back. Her best work was on Maude.
Well, we'll agree to disagree, Mike.
No, I think I found something that we can agree on. Going to C-Lab 2021, the Adrian Barbeau bot.
Yes!
I told you we can agree on something. But also in this episode, we do have Jack Riley once again. And did you mention Emma Samms playing Emma Samms?
I did not, but thanks for doing so.
Where's Kiesla when we need her for this?
And all of these people would appear on episode 8, Last Night at the Fire Station, part 2. Zach tries to raise funds to keep the nightclub open.
I can't believe we mentioned the Adrian Barbeau bot from C-Lab 2021. And Greg remembered it, which is even better.
Episode 9, Garden Party. Sandy tries to revive the career of a 1960s singer. The singer is Bobby Catalina, played by Ed Burns.
Cookie, lend me your comb. Cookie.
Episode 10, Selling Out. Zach sells the record company and the new owners offer Sandy a career boost. Playing a man, Christian Clemenson. Talked about him on Briscoe County Jr., known better for 3 seasons on CSI Miami. Episode 11, The Golden Guys. Sandy dates a man who's twice her age. Got a name in this episode, playing Adele, Liz Sheridan.
We've talked about it in a number of places, but depending, I think, a little on your age, you either know her as Raquel Achmanik on Alf, or you remember her from Seinfeld.
Episode 12, One Christmas. Sandy's former in-laws crash her Christmas party. Episode 13, Mary Heartless. Sandy's off-the-record remarks finds their way onto the air.
Oh, we got a name. Playing Mary Rogers, the legendary Jane Kennedy. Oh, I'm sorry, we gotta give her a proper introduction. Wickliffe, Ohio's own Jane Kennedy, thank you very much. We have talked about Jane Kennedy in the past because she appeared on 3 separate weeks of Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour. But directing this episode, this is actually a name. I don't think I've ever seen this guy directing an episode. But Joe Regalbuto from Murphy Brown and Ace Crawford Private Eye directed this episode.
Episode 14, Men Without Lips. Zach reunites with his college band. Shanna Reed from Major Dad is in this episode. She plays a lady by the name of Sherry. Episode 15, Make a Joyful Noise. A teenage gospel singer realized she can't handle fame. Playing said singer, Tasha Scott. Tasha was in 10 episodes of South Central, which means she worked with Jennifer Lopez.
I'm sorry, now I'm thinking about that South Park episode with Cartman having his hand like Jennifer Lopez. I'm Miss Jennifer Lopez. Taco flavored kisses. Taco, burrito. That's like the only time we're going to talk about Jennifer Lopez on this podcast, probably. Might as well milk every moment of it. I'm Miss Jennifer Lopez.
Episode 16, The Cable Show. Sandy and Meredith promote their new book on dating after 30.
Wait, dating after 30? That's ancient. Is this book like written on papyrus or on a stone tablet? Well, remember, in the first season, Jane Leaves was getting all worried about turning 23. 30's ancient.
Playing Charlotte, Nita Talbot, who was in at least the first half of Super Train. Episode 17, Here Come the Amish. 5 Amishmen follow Blue home after she tours Pennsylvania Dutch country.
How do they follow her home? Do they follow her in a wagon? A horse-drawn wagon? How does a horse-drawn wagon actually maneuver in New York City? I'm sorry, more questions than answers, I know.
Episode 18, Only the Lonely. Meredith becomes agoraphobic following a long spell of bad luck. Episode 19. There's no place like home. Sandy pushes Zach to employ Jeremy for the summer. Episode 20. Summer job. Overprotective Sandy makes Jeremy's new job intolerable. So I'm guessing he stayed on. Episode 21. Neil returns. Sandy's ex-husband, Neil, wants to rekindle their relationship. Episode 22. Young love. Blue seeks psychiatric help when a man rejects her. Playing her therapist, Sam Whipple from 7 Days and that one Archie movie. He played Jughead as a doctor.
He's not the guy that tried selling Charmin to everybody?
No, you're thinking of Mr. Whipple.
Oh, I thought this guy was the person who was perpetually typecast as a drunk.
Episode 23. The Grammy. Zach learns that he and his mentor are in competition for a Grammy Award. And the final episode. She can't sing, don't ask her. Sandy's temporarily able to sing on stage after undergoing hypnosis. Which, if you think about it, we were building up to this moment because Diana Canova, not only is she a good actress, she's a classically trained soprano. That's the show. I guess it was good enough for 2 seasons, but not good enough for 3. And it's really hard to pinpoint where this show went off the rails because it's a syndicated show. Stations could put it anywhere they please. It did get life after cancellation. They reran it ad nauseum for a spell on USA Network from the late 80s to early 90s. But aside from the one episode that's available on YouTube, neither hair nor hide exists on this entire internet. What do you guys think?
I didn't care for it as a kid, so this was really just one of those shows that I didn't have anything of worthwhile value to contribute.
And I was way too young when this aired.
I was just the right age to appreciate this.
No, you were the right age to appreciate Diana Canova because you knew at this point she was a big girl now.
Listen, my appreciation for Diana Canova did not begin until Comedy Central started rerunning soap in the 90s. Thank you very much.
Now I'm talking about Chico's appreciation of Diana Canova. I wonder if the syndicated landscape just got too busy. Because think of all of the syndicated offerings, especially comedies, that were on in 1988. Mama's Family, Charles in Charge, Out of This World would have been in syndication at this point. Same with She's the Sheriff.
Silver Spoons, Punky Brewster, Webster.
You're sort of making my point, though. There was quite a big syndicated comedy landscape, and maybe it just grew too big for its purposes, and maybe you gotta separate the wheat from the chaff, if you will, or just get rid of the low-rated comedies. Lo and behold, Throb may have been one of those low-rated comedies. Also, another show to add, since we bring it up from time to time, It's a Living. That would have been on in syndication in 1987-88. So maybe just too many shows, not enough spots.
It screams the 80s, it screams syndication, it screams television on a budget. One thing it did not scream after season 2 was a renewal, and it just became a thing on TV.
You can find us at our website, itwasathingontv.com, on Facebook at It Was a Thing on TV Podcast, and elsewhere at It Was a Thing on TV. You can find us on any podcast player, and we're also on YouTube, where you can subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our releases, including what's coming up next time.
It's the spooky season, and we're talking about ghosts. And somebody living in a giant house who can see ghosts. We'll talk about the story of a man who can see ghosts and how it pertains to a novel, a series of films, and Monty Python next time as we celebrate Halloween right here on It Was a Thing on TV. For Greg, for Mike, I'm Chico. Thank you ever so much for listening. Please be kind to each other, and we will see you for the next one. Wow!
Hi, I'm Kenny Rogers, and do I love ice cream. That's why I decided to open up my own ice cream parlor, Kenny's Ice Cream Parlor. My ice cream is made with only the finest ingredients. It comes in 57 delicious flavors, just like Mama Rogers used to do. Except the only difference is now we use a machine so Mama's arm doesn't get tired. How's your ice cream?
It's real good, Kenny.
All right, high five. Hey, watch your nose. Nothing goes down a hot summer day like ice cream. Banana splits, maltage, root beer floats. It has about a little whipped cream on that.
Sure, Kenny.
All right. Oh, young love, isn't it sweet? And if you're watching your weight, blue, try Kenny's frozen yogurt. Good and good for you. Now, let me help you with that, darling. And if you're next door at Kenny's Country Roasters, bring your receipt and you can customize your sundae at our Endless Fixins bar. Hot fudge, caramel, wet walnuts, it makes every day a Sunday. Looks like somebody's got a sweet tooth. So if you love ice cream, and who doesn't, come on down to Kenny's Ice Cream Parlor. It's a cool treat for the whole family. Ice cream. And a couple waffle cones, Kenny's Ice Cream. Cool your summers off. Hey, Kenny's Ice Cream Parlor.